Board of County Commissioners now in session. We'll begin with prayer followed by the pledge. Commissioner Jones, if you'd lead us in prayer, please.
Yes, sir. Let's pray. Heavenly Father, we thank you today for this good day you've given unto us. We thank you for this time you've given us to discuss and to try to make valid and current decisions for the people, the residents, the visitors of Franklin County. Father, we ask you for discretion, for knowledge and understanding today. And help us to do everything in temperance. In Christ's name, amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Next on the agenda will be payment of county bills.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion on the floor by Commissioner Massey, second by Commissioner Lockley. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Next will be the organizational meeting, selection of chairman and vice chairman.
Make a motion that Commissioner Perry be chairman next year, this year.
We want to do the vice chairman at the same time? Or we want to do them one at a time?
We can group them up.
That's what I was saying.
They can be done together.
Make them together.
You can, yeah, absolutely.
We have a motion for,
I make a motion for Commissioner Lockley to be the vice chair.
we have a motion on the floor by Commissioner Jones to
Second.
leave Commissioner Lockley at vice chairman, second by Commissioner Sanders. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? That motion carries. Committee and board assignments.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to keep my same committee assignments, if y'all don't mind, at least until next November,
So move.
if the board has no problem.
We have a motion on the floor by Commissioner Lockley. Do we have a second?
Second.
Commissioner Jones for a second, to leave Commissioner Sanders on the committee assignments that she has. All those in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? That motion carries.
And Mr. Chairman, just to let you know, at the Florida Association of Counties legislative meeting down in Sarasota last week, they also put me on another committee with the Florida Association of Counties. And that is the Federal Legislative Committee to deal with issues as far as the federal government is concerned. So that gives me, just to list the committees that I'm on with the Florida Association of Counties and the Small County Coalition. I'm on the Small County Coalition as a board of directors, been on there since 2002. I'm on the Florida Association of Counties Board of Directors. I've been on there since 2002. I'm on the Florida Counties Foundation, been there since 2002. And now I'm also the chairman of the Rural Caucus for the Florida Association of Counties. That will be up in June, and now the legislative. So just to let you all know that we do have a voice on what's being done at the state level.
And Commissioner Jones, you gonna continue to serve on ARPC?
Yeah, that'd be fine.
I'll
I
make
would
a
like to
motion
do
that we continue to let Commissioner Jones serve on ARPC with Michael Morone as his backup.
So move. I'm at second.
We have a motion on the floor by Commissioner Sanders, second by Commissioner Lockley. Any further discussion? All those in favor? All opposed? Motion carries.
Mr. Chairman, we didn't have no minutes?
No minute?
Okay.
We need a motion to allow Commissioner Sanders to continue to serve on all her board appointments and the ones that she just mentioned.
I'll make a motion.
We have a motion on the floor by Commissioner Massey. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Lockley. Any further discussion? All those in favor? All opposed? That motion carries.
One more board assignment, if you don't mind, Mr. Chairman. Number 8 on my report. Good morning, by the way. Former City of Apalachicola Commissioner Mr. Frank Cook was the chairman of the ARPC's Franklin County's Transportation Disadvantage Board. I informed the regional manager planner, Mr. Quentin Eastberg, that Mr. Cook was no longer a city commissioner and would no longer serve on the TD board. After Thursday's ARPC board meeting, which Commissioner Jones and I attended, Mr. Eastberg asked Commissioner Jones if he would be interested in serving on that board, to which Commissioner Jones agreed. Board action to authorize Commissioner Jones to serve on the county's Transportation Disadvantage Board.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion on the floor by Commissioner Lockley, second by Commissioner Sanders. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? That motion carries. Michael, number 7 on your report.
Okay, we could do that. Remember what? Inform the board that City Commissioner Brenda Ash has stepped down from the Franklin County Municipal Representative seat on the Appalachian Regional Planning Council. In the past, the board has rotated this seat between the city of Apalachicola and the city of Carabel. City of Carabel's Mayor Brenda LaPaz is willing to, turn the page over, Marone, is interested in serving on the ARPC. Therefore, I contacted the city of Apalachicola, and they have no objection to Mayor LaPaz filling this vacant seat. Board action to appoint Mayor LaPaz to the vacant municipal representative seat on the ARPC.
I make a motion to,
We have a motion on the floor by Commissioner Massey,
Second.
second by Commissioner Sanders. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? That motion carries also. Does that conclude most of our board assignments, committee assignments? We'll move on down. Mr. Howard Neighbors, Director of Superintendent of Public Works.
Good morning, Commissioners. How y'all doing?
Right.
Got a couple items on the grass cut. We continue on cutting grass, which we got a little bit left in Lanark. And just a little at Alligator Point, we should be done with the grass cutting for this year. Then we're gonna start on fixing the shoulders and intersections, which a bunch of them in pretty bad shape. So,
And then we'll go down there for the cleanup.
and to be, yeah, hopefully by the middle, this December, we should be down there. So clean the beach up.
Does the board have anything for Mr. Neighbors this morning?
Mr. Chairman, I had a question if I may. Mr. Howard, I don't think this really has to do with us, but I just want to get some clarification if I can.
Okay.
On Highway 98 through Franklin County, I know that there are understanding from doing research that there are some things that I was unaware of. My concern was not really about wildflowers or anything else, or trying to do away with anything like that. But when you ride east and west, both counties keep their roads clear cut, looking nice, and you ride through ours and it's 4.5 foot tall.
Yes, sir.
I don't know if there's anything to be done about it. I'm just asking this morning, is there between you and the board here, because a lot of it predates me anyway, is there any kind of,
That would be broad spectrum, which I think some contractors come through and cut. But we do 98, Lanark, and we do a section East Point and also Appalachia, that we try to keep up with it. But the
We do
last
some,
time
but
we was
not all.
cutting, we were kind of pulled off, said, well, you know, stuff was real high, so we called the guy at Broad Spectrum, and he said, well, you know, you go ahead and cut it. So we continue cutting that. But the other sections, from, like between East Point and Lanark and all that, I'm not sure why they're gonna keep it up.
I'm sure Commissioner Sanders is gonna jump in when I say it's, broad spectrum's gonna say it's about that wildflower, how do,
Wildflower initiative.
Yes.
Trying to say the wildflower is a butterfly. They're all rolled together.
that's what I was trying to
The
explain to
scenic byway.
Commissioner Jones,
Scenic byway.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and that affects how they can
Yeah.
cut there, so he was trying to figure, is there a way to keep the wildflowers, but
Compromise.
still
Yeah.
make it look a lot better, I guess.
Well, the wildflower's about over with now, ain't it?
Yeah.
Is it?
It should be, yeah.
Should be, okay.
Somebody, I'd like somebody to make a motion that we write broad spectrum and have the shoulder.
I make a
cut.
motion to write them, but every time they try to start mowing, them two ladies,
Well, the wildflower's over now.
yeah, I know
though.
it's over now, but when they did try to mow it, they was stopping them.
If they'd cut it one
Yeah.
time, it wouldn't grow back right now. I mean, we're in the fall going into winter, so, I mean, pleasure of the board.
Yeah, I made a motion to write them a letter.
Second.
We have a motion on the floor by Commissioner Massey, second by Commissioner Lockley. Any further discussion? I don't know how much good it'll do, but we'll try on request from Commissioner Jones. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? That motion carries. Any other commissioner comments from Mr. Neighbors?
Now, just have a blessed and happy Thanksgiving.
Y'all too. Thank you.
Thank you, Howard. Next will be Mr. Fonda Davis, Solid Waste Director.
Good morning.
Morning.
Good morning, Fonda.
All I have this morning is for y'all to have a happy Thanksgiving.
You too.
You too.
All right?
All right. Same to you.
Any commissioner comments from Mr. Davis this morning? Thank you, Fonda.
All right.
thank you, sir.
Next will be Ms. Pam Burnell, and I think she had some things to do.
Yeah, she's working on completing her FEMA Irma reports that are due today. I think it's Irma she told us, right? Yes. So she said if you have any items, any questions, let me know and I'll forward them to her.
She doesn't have a report or anything, Mike?
No, at least no action items.
No action items, okay.
Yes, sir.
Next will be Mr. Eric Lovestrand, Extension Office Director.
Good morning, Commissioners. I just have one item that I needed board approval for this morning. That's in my report, and it involves getting a signature from the chairman on an amendment number 4 for the Sea Turtle Lighting retrofit project. That has been a 4-year project. It's scheduled to end on June 5th, 2018, and overall, for the term of the project, it has provided a little over $200,000 to assist coastal residents with retrofitting their beachfront lighting on their properties to bring it into compliance with the county ordinance and make it a more friendly environment for the turtle hatchlings and nesting females. So that's an amendment that I worked on the language with FWC on to get it where they were okay with it and I was okay with it. And I believe our county attorney has looked at that as well. And I think Michael has a copy of that. If the chairman would sign that today, I would send it on through for full execution. FWC and DEP still need to sign off on it.
You have reviewed it, Attorney?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I've reviewed the addendum, and it looks fine to me.
Pleasure of the board to continue the turtle lighting project funded by FWC.
So moved.
We have a motion on the floor by Commissioner Massey, second by Commissioner Jones. Any further discussion? All those in favor? All opposed? The motion carries.
I'll get it signed and get it to you.
Okay, thank you very much.
I have one thing on my report for Eric, but let me ask you.
Sure.
So just on a sort of very summary basis, so how has the project improved or decreased the turtle disorientations? Have we had some sort of marker or benchmark to know we've made a success?
Yeah, I know disorientation total numbers have been down over the last several years. I don't know that we can claim full credit for that because the natural cycles in that change so much related to other factors, you know,
The
just.
numbers are down.
Yeah, they have been down. So I will do some total count and tallies too to make some comparisons and provide that information to the board as well. Now, I did also provide information in my report this time that highlights some of the proposed changes to the national or the model shellfish ordinance that I learned about when I went to the ISSC meeting in South Carolina this year. So there's a fairly extensive listing of all of the different parts of that document that will have changes likely when they rewrite that.
And Mr. Chairman, the last item of my report deals with Eric, so I thought I'd bring it up now. It's item number 7 of my report. Inform the board that after consulting with Mr. Eric Lovestrand, I contacted Mr. Craig Christ of DAX and asked for a 6-month extension to the DAX County agreement. So the county has until December 31st, 2018 to complete renovation for the extension office. Mr. Craig said he would approve it, and when it comes, the board will need to take action to accept the extension. The agreement the county just signed with DAX expires on June 30th, this year. And Mr. Lovestrand felt he would not be able to complete the project by then, so I asked for this extension. So he said it'd be okay.
Okay, does the board have anything for Mr. Eric this morning? Being no questions for you, Eric, we appreciate you coming in this morning. We'll get that document signed and get it to you.
Thank you. Have a great Thanksgiving holiday.
Thank you.
Thank you as well.
Next on the agenda would be Ms. Lisa Lance, Library Director.
Good morning, Commissioners.
Morning.
Let's fight with this mic. I was unable to attend last month. I was 3 days in Tallahassee for the Florida Annual Public Libraries Directors Meeting. We have, yesterday was the final registration day for our Music Second Language program. We have at least 30 children signed up. We'll be doing interviews the 1st of December, and that program will start mid-month in January. We have more students than we have teachers and instruments at the moment, so it's going to be a challenge to, we'll probably end up breaking them into 2 sessions. So that's a good problem to have. I want to thank Howard Neighbors and his county team. We had additional library logo directional signs were installed, and he was instrumental in getting those put up for us. We have an adult gardening event program today in Carabel. It's the final event for this year. It's growing inside while it's cold outside. The Carabel branch will be closed, and East Point will be closed, of course, Thursday and Friday for Thanksgiving. Carabel branch will also be closed on Saturday. Due to the stats from the previous years, it was less than 10% of our normal Saturday attendance, so I felt it was just better to go ahead and close for the facility cost. The part-time library assistant position that was posted in October, I have suspended the hiring of that position due to the lack of response. We did not get hardly any applications to really interview a good pool. So we will look at that again in January. We have many upcoming events throughout December. December 1st and December 15th, we have classes done by the Wakulla Extension Office, and those are going to be decorating on a dime and finding great gifts for less. Big event we have coming up is the Charles Dickens Christmas Carol. That is going to be Saturday, December 2nd. We're going to be holding that at the Rio Carabel. It's a reenaction of the timeless story, and we invite everyone to that. We are having an East Point flag ceremony on December 7th at 10 a.m. Anyone in the county is invited to attend that. We've got many in the county in the community that will be involved in that, including Commissioner Ricky Jones. And we appreciate that. And thanks to the Sheriff's Office for being instrumental in getting our flagpole installed. Woodman Life donated the pole and the flag so that we can represent what our flag means to us at the East Point location as well. We have a diabetes workshop coming up on December 11th from 4:30 to 5:30. This is the third installment of that workshop. Polar Express Party, we'll be holding those on December 15th in Carabel and December 21st in East Point. We'll have a reading of the Polar Express, and we will watch the story come to life by watching it, the movie. We have Animal Tales that will be there December 22nd doing their holiday safari. The staff and I are getting to choose what animals we get, so we're looking forward to that. And just an extra nugget of information for our fiscal year customer attendance, we had an 8.5% increase. So those were good numbers for us. We serviced almost 44,000 people in that fiscal year. So I think those are good numbers. So thank you.
Any comments from the board members to Ms. Lisa while she's here?
Mr. Chairman, I have a question for me. Ms. Lisa, did Duke ever get back with you about the lighting?
No, I was going to contact Danny today.
Okay.
And he had contacted somebody that was supposed to come by, but they've not contacted me yet. So
Thank you.
thank you.
Any other comment from the board members? We do appreciate you coming in this morning, giving us an update on the activities of the library system here in Franklin County.
Thank you. Y'all have a great Thanksgiving.
Thank you. Next on the agenda will be Mr. Jason Puckett, Airport Manager.
Good morning, Commissioners.
Morning.
Let's see here, I'm pull my notes up real quickly here. What just happened? I want to give a quick update on the airport. As you know, we had the drainage project that's going on right now. We're replacing a lot of the drainage pipes and infrastructure in at the runway there, or actually 2 runways there. We have completed the base bid's already been done. We're working on alternate number 1 and alternate number 2. It looks like they're ahead of schedule, and final completion date will be January 30th. Second of all, our airfield lighting upgrade, that has been substantially completed. Contractor came in under budget, and so we were able to use some additional funds to replace it's what's called a PAPI. It's a lighting visual assistance for a glide path. So we were able to upgrade and replace that with additional funds. The economic development plan that Beth Kirkland's working on with BRPH, Alan Pierce and I met last Thursday. They have made a lot of progress. They're working on. We gave them some pretty good feedback from what they've already done, and then they're going to hopefully have something to present to you guys in January. Centric Aviation is here today. They have hit the ground running, done a tremendous job so far. The Seafood Festival was a success there at the airport. I believe they had 22 airplanes on the ramp at one time, and they shuttled 75, 80 folks in and out of town. So it was an economic impact to our community for certain at the airport. We have a commercial access road. This is the last project that's going on. That's tying in the airport back to 98, kind of back to the work camp. They are still working on wetland delineation. AFCON is, but hopefully we'll have that finalized pretty soon. And then we do have a grant available for to go in and remove all the mildew off the runways of 1432 and 624, and then restripe those runways, repaint those. So we're excited about that. Hopefully the grant will be issued after Thanksgiving break. But other than that, that's the update from the airport, and any questions for me?
Any questions from the board member?
Mr. Chairman, I don't have a question, but while Mr. Puckett's here, I would like to mention something that come up at the ARPC meeting last Thursday. They're supposed to be doing, before the end of the year, they said that they're going to try to schedule a workshop about airports and 333.
Yes.
And about what it really means, and try to get some real input on it so counties will really know. Because basically the state's tried to push the law and say the counties have to enforce it. So that much I do know. I would like to, I'm going to attend, I would like Mr. Michael Marone to attend, and if it's okay, I would like Attorney Schuler to attend with us as well for that workshop. And I just wanted to mention it while everybody's here.
Yeah, absolutely. I'd like to maybe attend too if I could.
Yes, sir.
Be great knowledge for us all.
So move for all of them who want to go.
We have a motion on the floor by Commissioner Lockley for the attorney and Jason Puckett, Mr. Marone, and of course, Mr. Jones will be there to attend this meeting about the airports when it becomes available. Or do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Massey. Any further discussion? All those in favor? All opposed? That motion carries. Mr. Puckett, real quick, we're running a little ahead of schedule, but when you're talking about them doing the first item on your report, doing the digging and all.
Yes, sir.
The county would like to have some of that dirt that they're not having to replace for use on our soccer field out there that we're working on.
Okay.
And if you would mention that to the contractor.
Sure.
I know Mr. Howard's been in contact with him, and they were supposed to call him, but there's not been any correspondence.
Okay.
So if you could reiterate that. And you said you had the people from the airport here?
Yes, sir.
Could you bring them forward and introduce them to the board while we're a few minutes ahead, so the board's familiar with who's actually running our airport these days?
Yeah, this is Andrew Hartman and Tara Mon.
How you doing?
Nice to meet you.
Good morning.
Good morning. We'd like to welcome you to our team of Franklin County taking care of our airport for us, and look forward to working with y'all and trying to move the airport forward. And it's very beneficial to the community, and we are very pleased that y'all are here to help us in that endeavor. Any comments from the board members?
Welcome aboard.
Oh, not for Cedric, no, I have something else for Jason. Go ahead.
Thank you for coming forward.
Thank you so
You had a
much.
comment for Jason, Michael?
Yeah, I got a question. Could you expand a bit on the access road? We've had some questions about exactly what that project is.
It's basically an access road that will tie in, if you're going eastbound on 98, it will tie in basically behind the work camp and work its way behind our current T-hangars now, and it will tie back into the airport entrance. What we're trying to do is for tenants of a T-hangars to get to their T-hangars, the only way for them to do that in our vehicle is to drive actually on the airport ramp, drive up the ramp and then to their T-hangars. What we'd like to do is have an access road behind the T-hangars to keep all of our vehicular traffic off the runway, or off the taxiways and runways. Alan, if you've got...
I'm doing old school. Michael Marone hates this when I bring out a map out of the back on the iPad, but
Yes.
this is old school today. So the access road is going to, it's not, the airport road's over here, but essentially the access road's going to come in a curve tying in. I think these guys didn't see it. So here is the FBO. Here are T-hangars over here. The access road's going to come in and tie in these guys, and then continue out and loop out by the work camp. And so the exit will be on the road that goes to the work camp. That'll be turned into a throughway now, coming behind the work camp, tying into T-hangars. And then I forget where you said it ties back into the airport.
It just ties back into the main airport road, around 8 Airport Road. And the other benefit to that is when our fuel delivery comes for our self-serve fuel, which is to the left of the T-hangars, those fuel trucks will no longer have to drive down the airport ramp with the big semi. They can tie in right where off of 98 where that work camp is. And it provides a more secure environment, and I think it's going to benefit us long term. And then when the future industrial complex that's in between the T-hangars and where he's got that red mark or orange mark, that's going to allow that access road to access that small industrial park infrastructure. So we're trying to do the infrastructure now. And then that way we're prepared for any kind of, any kind of an industry that wants to come in there.
And just to remind the board, this money for this access road came from sort of a restructuring of a grant we had over here when we were looking at this site for industrial development and realized we had some, perhaps a buried garbage field here, and so the money was repurposed. It was already dedicated to the airport, so we said, let's get an access road in here, which will help open up this area here and not interfere with the residential area down here. So
Right.
that's sort of the purpose. The access road does one other thing, Commissioner Jones, which you'd asked about yesterday, which we hope will begin to get more visibility from the work camp. Because right now the work camp's at the end of a dead-end road. If we have a road that comes through here, the work camp is a valuable piece of property the county owns. The buildings on themselves aren't that valuable necessarily. They've now been abandoned for 5 years, and they're, most of them are wooden structures. But the site itself is valuable. It's got full utilities going to it, and so we are, not only the airport, in the plan that you'll hear about in January, is recognizing that the work camp has a value. We're looking at a training center for somebody. We don't have a tenant right now, but the idea is to use that facility, for some benefit for the community.
That's interesting you brought that up, Mr. Chairman, if I may. At the ARPC, they also talked about that the other day. Wakulla has expressed the idea that they were going to start some kind of regional training center.
Okay.
But we're already ahead of them in that. We've already got the facilities there if we chose to do so. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So
we'll go basically work camp.
And I know Mr. Rones looked at several things that might also go to that facility. So, we're having several options that are sort of percolating. We just got to see which one, we can get some money for.
As Commissioner Lockley wanted, at the RPC meeting, Miss Mary Louise Hester was there, and she's the one that's helping us get in contact with the VA representative, the federal VA representative, because they also showed interest in that location too. So it's good we have a lot of interest in that spot.
Commissioner Jones, you'd asked me one more thing. Let's just clarify. And you may have already answered the question when I was out of the room, Jason. But the airport access road does not do anything to the power lines. You'd asked me about relocating some power lines at one point, and I believe that there's no power line issues with any of these projects.
Okay. One more question. The area you talked about on the east side of the road, that old garbage field or whatever, is that something we still own?
We do own it, and we are looking at the possibility, Beth Kirkland is investigating the possibility of getting some brownfield money.
That's what I was going to say.
To analyze that site, to maybe do some surveys, some transects to see exactly the extent of it was an old garbage dump from years and years ago, so it's an undefined area. None of us remember exactly how big it is. The trees, it was closed 40 years ago, and trees have grown into it, but there's still stuff down there that we need to sort of locate and identify. And you'll hear it again, but one idea that I had and presented to the meeting, let's see if we can get some money, figure out the extent of the field, and then let's see if we can look at building things on there that aren't heavy and not costly. Example, T-hangers. Maybe we can just level that area out, put some fresh dirt on top of that, put some T-hangers out there which aren't heavy and don't need big, substantial foundations, and utilize that site, because the site actually has great access to the airport. It's on a runway, it's got a road right behind it, so it has value. It may be that we can't use it for big buildings, that are worth a lot of money, but maybe for T-hangers, which are fairly light structures, we can still get them out there. So we're looking at that as an option.
And it's a perfect timing too, because we have our airport master plan updates coming up end of next year that we'll work with our consultants at AVCON. And so if we can kind of work together and get some of that brownfield study done, we can put that on our airport master plan too, to submit to the FDOT and the FAA that we've got potential uses for that. That they delineate where it's at, then we can say we want to do a potential use for it, and that way we can start getting funding for it.
Just to ask one more question, the access road project, when do you estimate that'll be complete? Rough estimate.
That's probably going to work into middle of next year. We hit a snag with wetland delineation. There's some wetlands there, and so we're having to work out how we're going to do a trade, and we're working with the Army Corps and engineers on how that's going to work. But that process, it could get timely. Yeah, but we're pushing them as hard as we can.
Thank you.
Can I say?
Yes.
All that sounds good, but we need somebody to come in with some work
Yes, sir.
and put out there.
Yes, sir.
You're getting the infrastructure, but we need some jobs.
Yes, sir. And we're trying to make it attractive, so that'll come. Yes, sir.